Hello, all. It's another Saturday, which means that it's another day where we get to see some adventures of the thief and the necromancer. Hi, my name is Strash. I use he/him pronouns. I'm one of the regular streamers on Actual Play. Before we start, I have to unfortunately give a spiel where I mentioned that after discussing it with the other Actual Play folks, we are donating all of our proceeds this month, probably next month too, to a lot of charities and things that we support. So I know BLM's getting some stuff. You can see links probably uh, under our you know what, this new Twitch thing I am not entirely familiar with, but it should be under the in the doobly doo, and yeah, so that's where we're at. World's still on fire, but hopefully some of these games will entertain, and hopefully we can do some good. So that said, I'm gonna pass it off to Lauren. Lauren, tell us how you are and where we can find you on the internets.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lauren. I use she, they. I'm at the Stray Kiwi on Twitter, and today I'm playing Morgan, who is a thief who uses she, her pronouns. And as far as I can tell, she's like pretty nice, not that competent or patient, but she's pretty nimble and knows how to get out of like a messy situation or stage performance. That's also the thing that I excel at. So I'm looking forward to more of that. I'm also looking forward to finding some necromantic ingredients to have some necromantic hijinks and hopefully help my necromancer friend learn some spells. Um, I think that's all for me. Yeah, the world's on fire. Black Lives Matter. Defund the police. I yield my time. Judd, how are you doing?
Thank you.
It's my time. Oh my goodness. Wow. I feel I don't know how to follow that up. I'm
Sorry.
It's brilliant. Hi, my name is Judd, he, him, and if more listening to me talk about gaming more interests you, I'm on a podcast called Daydreaming About Dragons. And if you put that search term in, you will find my podcast and a surprising number of people on Twitter who are apparently daydreaming about dragons, which is awesome. And I yield my time to my honorable colleague, Luke.
Hi, I'm Luke. My pronouns are they, them.
This is gonna be a thing.
I'm a game designer and editor. You can find me on Twitter at Wildwoods Games. I like Judd's podcast. It's very good. You should go listen to it. I also have a podcast where me and some friends play queer, kind of feelings-focused games. You can find us on Twitter at feelingsfirst_.
All right.
So, Strash, given that this game empowers Judd and I to make you and Lauren do all the work, do you have a sporting circumstance in mind for
Yes!
today's issue of The Thief and the Necromancer?
So here's the thing. Okay, just chat since you're with us. We are a thief and a necromancer in a vaguely sword and sorcery setting. Last time we were in a city that was on a cliff and had a lot of cool bird themes. We ended up with a bird. Our thief stole a parrot. Did the parrot end up? Oh, the Chamberlain. Chamberlain is the name of the parrot, right? And then
No. Chamberlain is what the parrot was called. It will reveal its true name to the thief when it is ready.
My bad. However, one of the things we did not get is any more things for me to research as the necromancer, so I have no cool new spells or abilities, which means I will have a spawning circumstance that will allow us to get into trouble while we are searching for necromantic components, because that's something I desperately need, or I cannot advance my character's story. So, let's see. Ground complaint. Nighttime excursions. That sounds good. Maybe we can do that one. No. Aha! Tell your volunteers that the necromancer studies require certain precious adjuncts used in funeral rites. Oil of Asander, resin of Eofra, dust of green jasminite, and others, and you are considering together how best to acquire them. Take the time to set the stage, then begin play by deciding together how to proceed. So apparently this is a planning scene, and we don't have to ask our volunteers jack. So, but I'm going to have to. So, dear thief, Morgan, are you of an opinion? Do you feel like maybe we should go and raid a catacomb? How do we proceed here?
Oh, that weird. So last time we're pretty much old hat at this point now, sneaking into tombs and stuff. Um, yeah, it may just be like a sort of skulk and sneak in potentially. Although I'm not that good at that.
It's all right. We'll just get into exciting troubles, and then you'll get us out of them because you are awesome.
Heck yeah.
Thank you again for saving my life last time. I have not forgotten that you're probably going to have to do it again.
No, I owe you, so it's totally fair.
That's interesting. Someday we're going to have a scene where the two of us have a discussion, because I think we've been even for a while. Let's talk about this. So, Judd and Luke, I'm going to just tell you volunteer some stuff, and then throw you to the wolves or each other to come up with the rest of the shenaniganery. I believe that I've heard rumor that funerary rites were held for a rich family that has catacombs near their home. They have like a family plot set of catacombs that I think we can go and capture some of these essential oils and or funerary urns and other assorted shrouds and such. I believe that there has been a somewhat fancy burial recently, so we know that the goods are there, as it were. So, Thief, how do you feel about going into a family plot to steal some remnants of the dead?
I'm assuming if it's a family plot, they're probably pretty rich, and we know how I feel about rich people. So I'm fine. I think I'm fine with that. At the moment. We'll see if it gets more complicated. We'll see if this family is nice and stuff, and if we're drawn to like sort of moral dilemmas. But on the face of it, solid plan.
Lauren, I know this is a fantasy game, but like rich, nice people, please.
Yeah.
Don't break my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, seriously. Next thing you're gonna tell me like nobles are useful or something, and look at be like, I don't know.
The city guard does anything? Like, come on.
All right.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is this catacomb in the plots, and like at the base of the cliff in Garnet, or have you?
Oh no, we've left Garnet.
Moved on to other climbs to find some stuff.
Definitely other climbs. Basically, our MO seems to be start shit in city, bail out at high speed, because the last that we saw our Thief and Necromancer, we had the head of the city in tow with a bunch of guards coming after us while we were riding out on some carts. So yeah, definitely pull chocks, GTFO, go.
Classic pulp adventurers.
Yeah, exactly. Classic pulp adventurers.
I have a pitch for where y'all might have gone. Because I have been thinking about this. Because I know, like, last time we were like, there's, like, a road that leads out of the city and, like, leads up north. And, the further north you go, typically, the colder it gets. Like, that's...
Many places have a north.
Many places have a north. But what I don't want to do is just be like, yes, and there in the north live the fantasy Vikings, and they all have big beards and big fur, and they worship fantasy Odin. Like, that's boring to me. So here is my pitch for what the fantasy north is like.
Nice.
I think it's like... Oh, God, how to fucking pitch this? Like, I think it's like a giant, like, wetland. Or like a floodplain. And so this, like, the line between sea and land, and that, like, coastal shelf is just, like, incredibly long, and it's an incredibly fine gradation. And so it's just, like, thigh high to, like, shin high to, like, ankle high salt water for, like, miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And in some places, seaweed is sticking up out of it, and in some places, land plants are sticking up out of it. And there's, like, giant pines that grow out of it that are, like, half petrified by the salt. And I think the people here, like, profit from and benefit from, like I think salt is a major trade good that comes out of this place. And I think here, funeral rites involve burning resin of Aofrey and like smoking the corpse to like begin preserving it, and then packing it in salt and like brining it into like a horrible salt mummy.
Mm.
I'm into salt mummies.
I love salt mummies. I don't know why I love salt mummies, but when you said salt mummy, I was into the whole thing, and then I was like, salt mummy was like the clincher.
Mm.
I've decided to. Morgan is squicked out by crabs. Like most people are squicked out by spiders, but Morgan is squicked out by like mud crabs and that kind of thing.
That's very good to know, Lauren. Thank you very much for sharing.
As someone who grew up on the Jersey Shore, I think that's a wise thing to be squicked out by. They're basically they're basically spiders who carry weapons and armor around with them. So,
Thank you, Judd.
I will never be able to look at a crab the same way again.
Essentially.
Oh yeah, the brine farmers. Shout out to Spikemore in the chat.
Nice.
Judd, do you have any thoughts about what the fuck does a city or a settlement look like? I have an instinct, but I'm also very curious.
Is it like stilted and elevated so it's above the water? Is that it?
Yeah, my brain was kind of going to the cranogs that you find in you found. They're not really a thing anymore in like Scotland and Ireland, where they would build like stilted artificial islands in lakes, and then like all the houses had these characteristic big overhanging roofs that looked kind of like hats.
Yeah. I'm thinking that. And do they get the salt like through some way through the water, or they're actual like salt mines? What do you think?
The traditional method for salt farming is to make these pools, very thin pools, and then at high tide you actually like swish the water over to fill them up, and then over the course of multiple days they dehydrate, and then you have to use these brushes to actually brush the salt together. And depending on what the rock and the content of the water is like, you get different colors and flavors of salt.
I mean, to lean into then the brine farmers, like they build fields that are just like log platforms, kind of like, you know, that sit just under the high tide mark and just above the low tide mark.
Yeah.
And yeah, every day they're just out there like tending to their log fields and cultivating the salt that gathers upon them.
Nice.
For marshes, there's also probably a distinctive color of clay that's mined and or used.
For sure.
So we probably smell settlements before we see them because the kilns bake bricks of it.
Nice. Because you know, salt kind of erodes things very quickly. Do their gods kind of rise and fall at a faster rate than maybe other gods would? Whereas, you know, gods might last centuries or millennia, like you know, out in the salt plains, like
there's cyclical gods where every X amount of years there is a new cycle.
Yeah, or they just maybe that's something. Maybe that has something to do with the salt mummification, is you know, kind of being preserved so that you can preserve the memory of that deity.
Yeah,
I like the idea that like there are like seawalls, or like there are some seawalls around more fragile parts of like the shoreline, and they're made of like some kind of fantasy stainless steel, or like some kind of magically imbued like metal that repels like salt to kind of like protect it from the shoreline.
Nice.
Made
Well,
from
all right
gold,
then.
maybe.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
I think they might worship trees, Judd. I
That's
think
interesting.
the pine trees are maybe their gods.
Okay.
And yeah, like no tree lasts forever, right? Like
Right.
Is that a
Oh,
famous
you
saying
count
in
your
town?
age and you count your age in rings and stuff instead of like the traditional years, because like that's
Oh yeah, that's good.
No tree lasts forever. Love
Oh
it.
wow, there's a really cool comment
10
in
rings
chat.
old.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lauren. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was it. I was like, I'm 10 rings old.
Oh, I'm 10 rings old.
But-
Very cool.
And I think they literally do wear rings too, like to count it.
That's
Because
really
like
cool.
salt is incredibly valuable, right? Like these people are not living a poor lifestyle by any means. Like they have fucking golden seawalls.
What were you saying, Strash?
I was gonna say there's a really cool comment in chat. Iron in bogs both exists and is very precious. And someone said, "Do they cast their gods in iron, and then when it rusts, they know it's time for a new one?" I
Ooh,
thought that was
love
pretty
it.
cool.
That's really
Ooh,
cool.
Yeah. Oh god, okay. So here we go. Okay. So the like the elder gods of their people are these like giant like petrified pine trees that are like totally salt like petrified and are just like are never going anywhere. They just are there. And then you sculpt is not the right word because there's blacksmithing involved, but you make like iron sculptures of like your settlement's patron tree that is understood as like a child of that tree question mark. And yeah, when it rusts away, like the child is dead and there's a huge funeral performed, and you like go out and you like appeal to the great tree, and you like there's a whole thing that goes on.
Love it.
Very cool.
I, however, need necromantic components from bodies of actual people. So perhaps we can attempt to do a daring nighttime delve into the catacombs of a fairly rich
Where all the salt
family.
mummies, in
We're
the
totally gonna
sinkhole, Strash, where all the
stuck
salt
in the
mummies.
sea cave.
In the sinkhole where all the salt mummies live. Good. Yes. No problems.
A cheery place.
Feels like home. Great. Yeah, let's do that. Volunteers, let's ask some questions. Well, as we descend, what do we see? What do these catacombs and sinkholes look like?
Oh man, it's fucking miserable. It's damp and it's cold.
I have no idea where the crabs are coming out.
I love
like,
that this is your
smell-
focus.
You can practically like taste the tang of the salt in your mouth,
Mm.
especially because you're having to breathe hard. I imagine this sinkhole is probably one of the main places where the like golden retaining walls exist. So there's like a circular golden wall around this natural sinkhole, like some way out, right? Like I think I think to get here you were wading through like waist or even like chest high water. Right on the edge of the world, at least as these people see it.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard to say. Like, I think you look down and you can't see the bottom of the sinkhole, largely because it is like filled with like it's half full of water, and so like even on the lowest of tides, there hasn't been an end. Like, no one has ever seen the bottom of it, even when the tide was at the lowest ebb it's ever been in history. Like, it might just be salt mummies on salt mummies on salt mummies all the way down there. Does it connect to the sea beyond? Good question.
I think it reminds me a little bit of like when we tripped through that dream back in Garnet, and I think a shiver goes down my spine when I just like take in like the empty blackness of who knows whatever the fuck is down there. But I try and keep it inside. I don't want you to like see that I'm freaking out or scared of crabs or anything.
Yeah, and I think it's matched by like the blackness of the sky above, right? Like I think it's nighttime. I don't think there are stars in the north. I think the gods of the stars, for whatever reason, do not look upon this place with favor.
Love it. Starless.
But there is a very, very bright, huge moon in the sky. Or are there two moons? Let me just quickly check the bestiary.
It's
Yes,
one.
it has a single white moon. There we go. Thank you, Vincent.
All right. So
Yeah, it's like sharp, cold, very like almost like the sun through clouds. Like it is nighttime, but it is bright.
Cool. So where is our target? If this sinkhole has water and we cannot see the bottom, where are people being salted and brined? Did they make like a little artificial wooden island or something?
What do you think, Judd?
I think they do that kind of above, right? They do that on like an elevated, like they do the actual funerary stuff maybe above, and then they bring it below. What do you think?
Yeah. I wonder if there's almost like
Okay, so I don't have to
little.
go diving. That's good to know.
I wonder if there's almost like little like berths dug into the walls and like bodies stacked in there like salt cod.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. Mummies in little nooks and crannies and walls is fine.
Oh my
Yeah, all right. Is there anything in our way? So I assume that there is a carved out, like, either two wings or a semicircle or something that we can enter that has all of these bodies that have been prepared and left in the walls. Is there aught stopping us from just taking stuff?
Hmm.
I think. Of course.
Because if not, I'm just gonna take stuff
Judd,
and then we leave.
Judd, I have a great idea.
I'm looking forward to it. What is it?
Like obviously the preparing station is just where the like the the disemboweling and the like the tanning of the skin and the like smoking of the body, like that's where all that happens. Like the brining happens in the water,
Uh-huh.
and so part of the like duties of the priests who tend this place is to like constantly restack the bodies. And so the fresh bodies, which are the ones that still have all of the like essential substances in them, are all the ones that are right down like at the waterline where at high tide they'll be engulfed. All of the bodies, like, because I imagine there's like a spiral kind of like stair that goes down. All the bodies like up near the top are just like they're literally the only thing in them is salt,
Okay.
which I don't think is of much.
No,
or
it's
has much use
not.
to it.
Things that I need. Someone's casket, which clearly there are no caskets here. Winding shrouds, of which there should be plenty.
Oh yeah,
And
plenty.
a funerary urn, used but emptied. I assume that there are urns that hold salt that may or may not be used here for transfers. If there are things that are purely salt, right? Yeah, that's the stuff that I'm looking for. And if I have to go down closer to the water level to get a hold of some of these shrouds, that's fine.
And what I'm hearing is the sea is the casket for these folks because
Yeah.
it comes up and bathes them. So all you need is some like touched seawater.
Lauren, I see you have played witchcraft before.
Well, there's only one way to know for sure. I ask Gurn because like if the thief suggests that, or I'm just like clever. I don't know if it'll work, but clever. And so like I'll ask Gurn, and I'm just like, would the water down where it's touching the bodies count as the casket for these things? Like if I gathered 3 vials of it, could I study that?
While the volunteers are thinking, I want to add that the sea breeze like catches the mouth of like these tunnels and caves, and it sounds like ghostly wailing on rough nights.
course
And
it
there are
does.
rumors. There are rumors that like these are the voices of the dead that speak, and I think those are rumors that Morgan's like picked up, and it's likewise feeling a bit like trepidatious about as we were doing this, but it's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine.
And it mixes with like the crashing of the surf, which is already kind of eerie at night.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah, not the best.
I would think it would be fine as long as you put it in an opaque container and no light touched it. I think as soon as the light touches the stuff, the casket nature of it disappears. Is that cool?
Sure. I think
Luke, is that cool with you?
Oh boy, and I think and then there's like a pause, and then Gurn says,
Nice.
And from the outside, there's no good. A casket is an inside thing.
What does
You
that
must
mean?
pour it out of the lungs.
Oh, good. Okay. Not a
Yes,
problem.
just
I'm a
from
necromancer.
inside one of the bodies.
I can handle dead bodies. It'll be fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm 100% in on this. I think I'm gonna screw up my courage and you know, be like, all right, I guess that's what we were here for. And I'll out of my satchel, I'll take a couple of containers and things, and I'll draw one of my, like, there's a selection of knives, all of which are shaped strangely because they're not intended for cooking or fighting necessarily. They're like either ritualistic or for body preparation. So I take the appropriate, more spiky, I'm gonna puncture like in between two like ribs and then collect liquid as it comes out of the lungs sideways, kind of appropriate pokey tool.
Yes,
and,
of course.
Yeah. Doesn't everyone have one of those? Yeah, I guess I look at the thief and I go, "Wish me luck," and I'm gonna, put the knife between my teeth, pull out the little flasks that I have for collecting appropriate things, and I'm gonna head down the spiral stair towards closer to the water level where I need to be to collect the things that I need. So, dear volunteers, I try to find bodies that have appropriate shrouds that I can also leach some of this liquid from the lungs from. That is what I do. You let me know if there's any troubles.
I also like how I'm the Shaggy in this situation where it's like you stay here and keep watching. I'm like, oh no, I don't have
Well,
hands.
priests could be bringing new bodies. I definitely could use somebody up on top of the cliffs.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm more than happy to be in that position. I just like
if you
being
want
Shaggy.
to, well, I figured that I understand the ritualistic needs of the acquisition of the goods better, so I should probably be stabbing corpses.
Please, by all means.
Okay, excellent. Yeah,
that's
good.
Perfect.
Also, there's a high likelihood chance that either people are going to show up or B, I might scream terribly because there might be mummies down there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I got your back. No problem.
Oh, all right, excellent. Let's just go and do the thing. So
here's my thought. Judd, tell me how this takes your fancy.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I think like the moon is not, like dead center, like midday at the zenith. And so because this is a sinkhole, the moonlight only bathes so much of it, and then it's very dark, and then it's water somewhere ambiguous down further in the dark. And I think you get to like, the last like moonlit patch of the path, O Necromancer, and you like get the, you grab the body and you like try and pry the, the shroud off, and it just like it crumbles in your hand into salt.
So I have to go deeper.
It's all petrified. Yeah, and you like you like stab a hole and it just like punches through with like no resistance and nothing comes out.
Okay.
Except like a faint sighing noise. And yeah, I think if you want to find a body, you absolutely can do so, but you're gonna have to go down into the dark.
Yeah, all right, I do.
Where the water is.
That's fine. I do that. What could possibly go wrong? It's fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, graveyards are peaceful places. There's no problems.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. How do you see down there? Because it is like,
I
it
don't.
is like pitch black.
I have a feeling that part of Necromancer training is moving in the dark. Very Tombs of Atuan, kind of. I think
right,
that...
so you're just like feeling along the...
yeah, actually, I think I take a couple of minutes before I enter the dark where I, like, actually, like, take off some of my, like, normal clothes, and I take a moment to, like, scoop up a piece of water and, like, do like, a shriving, like, prep myself sort of the same way that I used to when I was an acolyte, and then I think I stand up, and I move down with just the tools of my trade into pitch blackness, and I just walk counting steps with my fingers along the walls because I know how many steps it is between each of the notches and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So, this is not an uncomfortable... This is uncomfortable for us today who do not do this kind of motion, but I think it's one of the few times where we see the Necromancer sort of in their element. Even more so, like, my magic is iffy, but, like, this kind of thing, this ritualistic behavior is much more, like, I have much more confidence about it.
Yeah, and like of course, right? Like I think like you keep winding down, you keep winding down, you like, and I think you pass like the tenth like little storeroom since like the one back in the light, and you're like, all right, probably one more will do it. Uh, and you're like stepping down towards that one, and about halfway through the like 20 steps it's gonna take you, you feel your foot like hit water, and you know that like, yeah, to get to the next one you'll probably be like waist deep in water.
That's fine.
But that's almost certainly going to be a very fresh,
Excellent.
very fresh body.
I pop it like a casket. Like, well, I don't know what the correct term is here. I tap it. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get
the
some
tapping knife. That's what this one is.
It's the tapping knife. Yes. So yeah, I want to tap it and see if I can. Yeah, there's actually probably like a motion where you stab and then you actually like twist and turn, and when you pull the handle off, the liquid comes out. So yeah. That's what I do. You tell me if anything changes.
God?
Yeah, I think I mean, I think there are crabs. You know, there are bodies, and I think there's one that's big enough that it gets a hold of the knife and starts to twist it out of your hand.
A crab. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how hard this is. I mean, I can exert myself with strength, or
Judd, just for the audience's benefit, how big is a crab that's big enough to twist a knife out of someone's hand?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is underwater, so you haven't seen it yet, but yeah, it's got to be pretty big, right? I mean, that's that's a big creature.
Like 4-foot leg span?
Yeah, yes.
To me, flashbacks like a conversation that we had the thief and the necromancer where I'm like, those mud crabs, you gotta fucking watch out for those mud crabs. The necromancer's
just like,
what do you mean?
I eat crabs, they're like yay big.
They're crabs, they're like this big.
How you know?
5 minutes later. Yeah, so is there do I need to okay, so I feel like I do not need to exert myself violently yet. Like, I'm not in a struggle for my life, but maybe this is an unmoving, unhappy thing. Do I need to exert myself physically in order to get this whole thing accomplished? Is that what's going on here? Do I have to arm wrestle a crab?
Yes.
All right, cool.
You tell us what you do, Strash.
Well, I'm asking because the first step is to make sure that I need to roll. Like
I think this is an uncooperative thing.
That is totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that I couldn't just arm wrestle a crab. Let's.
I do also, just for everyone's sake, I want to be clear. When I said spider crab, I think it is as big as a spider crab. It is not as spindly as a spider crab. It is like a mud crab, as big as a spider crab. It's like a big, chunky boy.
All right.
Not with all those spindly legs. I think it's important that we're all picturing the same crab.
So I think I do it, and I do it really well. I'm strong enough. I'm quick enough. I don't think this crab's gonna take me down. I get 4 things. Oh, my footing is good enough. So yeah. So on a hit, you're up to the challenge, in whatever terms make sense for the circumstance. Technically, you can choose as many as your roll, but if 1 or 2 will settle it, you don't have to keep choosing. So I feel like I'm stronger than this 4-foot mud crab. I think that I pull on that knife until I look into its beady eye stalks, and I'm like, yeah, and I just take the knife from it. I'm like, stop it, crab. But I don't actually speak. I just glare at it meaningfully.
It's an energy.
Yeah, it's a mood. So yeah, I think I probably should show people our rolls. But yeah, I think
I just want us all to remember that this is happening in total darkness by
Yes,
feel,
and also in
which
silence.
just makes it all so much worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a struggle and like a rifle of water and everything, but eventually I get my knife back and I'm just like, piss off, crustacean. And yeah, I just, I think I'm gonna try one more time, like just to try and get my job done. Oh, actually, you know what? If the crab is holding onto the knife, can I just like pull it and chuck it deeper into the water? Like it can obviously come back, but like I just want to get it away from me for like 5 minutes so that I can do what I need to do here, and you know then I will leave its watery salty domain, you know, to its claws and whatnot.
I'm sorry. So did you roll and get a result? I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not understanding.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Necromancer was strong enough and had good enough footing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I can pick more
They
if it's
try and-
necessary, but
Yeah, they
Yeah,
try
yeah,
and
yeah.
throw the crab away. What happens next?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you just like wrenching it off. Yeah.
cool. Yes,
That's
I
what-
just want to throw it into deeper water for now, so that it gets away from the nook and cranny that this body is in, so I can finish my work.
Yeah.
Cool. So I get, in pitch darkness, I get water that has not been exposed to light that counts as a casket. And do I also get the shroud off of this body?
What do you think,
I'm
Luke?
gonna be a jerk.
Nice.
I think the crab took the shroud.
So
Not
I have to.
necessarily.
It's fine.
Not necessarily like right now, and not necessarily this crab, but I think like
Some crab.
some crab
At some
recently took
Yes.
that shroud.
Excellent. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I think you're gonna have to either go deeper into this because
Yeah,
these
that's fine.
nooks are all like, I imagine they're like at least 10 feet deep, right? Like there's probably like 10 or 20 bodies stacked in there.
Not a problem.
So you're gonna have to crawl in and stuff.
I absolutely do. I do what needs to be done to get at
Right.
least one or two
Welcome.
more caskets and or some shrouds so that I can at least get 3 or 4 attempts at studying my one spell in the future between sessions.
And just to understand where everybody is, you are down here, and Morgan is
Up at the
up on the
top,
cliff?
standing watch. Yes,
Okay,
for
got
any
it.
additional processions and or guards and or whatever.
Got it.
Yeah, I have a thought about that when we think it's time to go back to the.
If you want to switch back up, if you're like, great, Necromancer, you know what? You can get your stuff for a minute, but let's see what's happening up there. That's totally fine.
What do you think?
I'm happy to leave the Necromancer navigating by field a dark cave full of salt mummified bodies.
Not even a cave, a notch. A single notch that I'm crawling on hands and knees through because you said that it's 20 bodies deep.
Yeah, and like
So it's not like
at any
up and
moment-
down, it's like sideways in my head and I'm crawling into this very claustrophobic kind of...
I think it's probably high enough that you could stack 2 bodies on top of each other.
Alright,
just
alright.
because it's going to be harder to shuffle them if
No
you have to
problem.
like empty the whole thing out.
Yeah, so they probably run them this way and somebody can go down the middle to pull bodies
Yeah,
out,
exactly.
put bodies in.
And like
yeah.
at any moment, and like Necromancer, I think this exact trick has been played on you by your masters in the Order of Tam, like before, to test your nerve. At any moment, these bodies could come to light. Like anything could go wrong.
Sure.
And we cut back to the thief. So here's I have a pitch.
Sweet.
Judd, tell me what you think.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
I think out of this ghastly, unnerving sound of the sighing wind and the kind of crashing surf, I think there comes like a third sound in counterpoint that slowly resolves itself and becomes like apparent to the thief. And it is a song. But it is not sung in any human tongue, and it does not sound like any human voice. It sounds kind of like an oboe and kind of like a violin way up like the top of its range. But even though it's not in words you recognize, you can you feel in your bones what it means. And it's a song about like the bottom of the seafloor. where there is no light and there is no warmth, and there is just like the endless salt and like the corpses, the grave of empires and the bodies of gods, and like all things go to die and be preserved. And then the priest that is singing this song climbs up over the golden wall. And of course, the priest who is singing this song is a crab.
Wait, what?
Is like a 10-foot wide crab with like a couple of bodies lashed to its back. Because I think the crabs are like the keepers of this place.
That's very cool.
And so yeah, this horrible singing crab priest just like clambers up one side of the golden wall and down the other. And I don't think it's seen you yet, O Thief.
Neat. I feel like it's sort of barnacled as well if it's kind of like an older
Oh yeah,
crab.
like 100%.
Yeah. That's super cool. I think like for
And like crusted with salt flakes
yes.
on its like almost scaled in salt.
That's so good. I think like from the thief's perspective, I think like Morgan felt a bit unnerved like being alone in the darkness with these winds, and I think like to calm some nerves pulled out like a stage knife or a prop knife and was kind of like practicing like flipping that around and like doing this or whatever, and just doing something to like keep her hands occupied. So I think like she's still holding that stage knife when she hears like the oboe and the violin, and then like sort of sees like upon like the moonlight the sort of salt flakes and like the barnacles and like the sort of beady crab eyes. It's like, oh god, I'm not here for that. I think I'm gonna try and hide. I don't think it's my best quality, but I think on instinct Morgan would feel like, oh, I just sort of like lie low, duck behind a rock or something, and then just like wait until this thing goes. If it goes into the sinkhole, then we have a problem, but it might not be going in there, so I'll hide for now and then see what I need to do. Which I think is that might be a passing someone by, just like by concealing myself, changing my silhouette or my clothing or that kind of thing, whatever is necessary to sort of let someone pass by me unnoticed.
That sounds like a fair exertion.
Yeah.
So for this move, I have to ask my volunteers several questions.
First, whom? So you intend to pass by this crab?
Oh yes, yeah.
And yeah, and like where you intend to go is just kind of like broadly speaking to stay where you are and not be to go out of its path so that it doesn't trip over you.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, crab probably has important things to do.
And to be very clear, it's singing. Like it's not an exhalation coming out of its shell that is like, oh, that's creepy. It sounds like singing. Like,
hang on.
This is a
no. There's a point of order here because
Yeah.
in the bestiary we are in a world that is recognizably similar to our world. So giant crabs are probably fine, but giant crabs that actually speak are probably a little bit maybe too far.
Okay.
Like, does it have a human that sings with it? But like, if there is a sound where like wind is going through its shell or whatever, that sounds fine. But like, speaking crabs are maybe a little too fantastical. Yeah. Is that okay? Because like that's part of like the world setup is like our assumptions are that the world is at least somewhat recognizably similar to ours.
I think there is a wizardly thing that is going on here.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Is my kind of justification for it. Like I think these crabs are blessed by a god, or like I think there is some magical. They're not just mundane talking crabs. They are like giant crabs that have somehow magically been endowed with speech and the wit necessary to be undistinguished.
So they're
I
not
guess.
crabs; they're a magical construct of some sort.
That, yeah.
Like an Ibestus companion type thing.
Yeah, or like
It's very high order sorcery.
Yeah, or like altered crabs, right? Like changed by like who knows? Maybe there was some. Okay, let me speculate. I think some order of ancient priests and undertakers let down their duties and were like transformed into crabs.
Okay.
I think this is like the result of some wizardly punishment.
All right. I can dig it. That's fair.
But yes, Judd,
Sure,
yes,
yeah.
this crab is singing a sad song.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Cool.
All right. So you had questions, Lauren.
Oh yes. So I have to ask if I'm going to pass someone by. I have to ask the volunteers the following questions, and I must keep tabs on how many times you answer yes. So, are they watching for me in specific?
No.
Cool. Are they watching with disciplined vigilance and all their senses attuned?
Doesn't sound like it because they're singing.
Not really. Like they're carrying bodies around. Like they're doing a different thing. It's not like they're standing guard. Judd, what do you think?
I mean, I think they definitely don't want people coming in and stealing shit, and they know that people do. But I don't know if guarding is like what this crab is doing at this very moment.
Yeah, I think the next question might be a yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Because the next question is, are they turning people away, not just watching people pass? Which I think could be interpreted to mean like, should you not be here? Like,
yeah,
are
like
you
if it finds you, it's not just going to be like, whoa, slow down. It'll be like, fuck off.
Yeah. So they're kind of like turning people away in that sense that I shouldn't be here. So that's one yes.
It
And
might be
the last.
it
Oh,
might
yeah?
be a little crabby about you being here. Sorry, continue.
And the last question is, must I hurry?
Huh. I think you've got to hurry and do something and like change your silhouette. Otherwise, it's going to see you. You know, like it's not like you've got to run, but you've got to move decisively.
Wait,
Yeah,
so maybe
as soon as it comes over the wall, it has a pretty good view.
sweet. So like maybe get some like seaweed or some other kind of thing I can at least like drape over myself. I don't know. Okay, cool. So I must hurry. So I have to hurry, and there people will be angry if they catch me here. Cool. So that's two.
You need to denature your like human shape with barnacles and seaweed. And shit.
Totally. It's like stand like this.
Disguise yourself like a crab, yeah.
Sweet. I will subtract 2 from my roll because I had 2 yeses. So that I think that's I have to roll a 3 or under. So it's going to be 50-50. Let's...
I think it's you don't subtract from your roll, you subtract from your rating.
Oh, from the rating. Oh, cool. So the rating being like my stat?
Yeah, the stat
right?
that
Yeah.
you're trying to roll under.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to roll under my nimble plus patient, which is 4. So
we're down to a 2.
2. This is gonna go really well. 1d6, and I feel less than 2. Nope, I rolled a 6. For a bit of scrambling, I cannot quite evade this crab priest.
Yeah. So on a miss, you get to choose.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, on a miss, I choose tell my volunteers that I realize at once that I won't be able to get past them. Tell them what you do instead. Tell the volunteers that you have to risk it, and they notice you. Ask them what they do. Ooh. Oh no. Okay. So I think I'm really torn because like, on the one hand, I kind of feel like it's really silly to try and hide in a cave when there's like sort of one way in and one way out, especially when I'm trying to keep post at the same time. but I really have no idea what I'm gonna say to this crab priest. So I think I have to risk it. I think I still try and like grab some kelp and toss it over myself and get like low behind some rocks. And despite that, this crab priest notices me. So now I get to ask my volunteers, what does this crab priest do upon noticing me?
Judd, great question.
I think it one of its claws bites into your ankle.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
And it starts.
Oh dear.
And it starts to like. It's the song changes to like a song of warning rather than like a mournful, sad song. And it kind of starts to drag you towards some water.
Oh, dang.
Okay, good. No problem.
Yeah, I think there's like a pool, right? So like we're at the top of the sinkhole here, in the shadow of this golden wall, and I think there is like a second smaller sinkhole that is like just a pool of water, which is where the crabs like wash out, the bodies and like wash up their claws.
Yeah.
Where
very
also
cool.
Apparently bad things are going to happen to the thief, but Joe, do you think this might be a good time to visit the Necromancer and see how
yes.
that's doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanna
Totally.
see that.
Yeah.
All right. So down below. Don't worry, dear thief. It's only a superficial wound. Haha. I will have so many crab puns that will never introduce crabs again. All right. So yeah, I crawl through the thing and I gather a few more shrouds and a few more liquids from lungs. I assume that takes a while, but I don't know.
Like it's a fairly involved process.
Do I come up out of the dark and see giant crabs up top, or like what's the sitch?
Judd, do you think our necromancer is done with the difficulties of gathering necromantic supplies? Do you think that it might be harder than just dealing with a 4-foot crab?
I mean, there's a giant singing crab up top that I figure I have to go deal with.
No, that's the thief's problem. You don't have to worry.
Oh, good. Sorry, Lauren. Apparently, that's only your problem.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I just asked chat what I should do, so I should maybe
Clever thief.
I feel like there might be more problems to be had.
Yeah. I have a thought.
What problems?
Well, see, the thing that is risky about being a necromancer and hanging around dead bodies is that another thing that is often around dead bodies is ghosts.
I don't actually have... Oh, okay. Sure. I have a plan. That's fine.
And so yeah, like I think you're like in the middle of like unwinding the shroud off like one last corpse. Your backpack is all like full, all of your vials are like carefully kind of like packed in among the cloths so that they won't like break or get damaged. And you just like, I don't know, Necromancer, you tell me like what like equivalent of like the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. What's the like necromantic senses equivalent of that just like tells you that like something ghostly is like like the ghost world is moving around you.
Work with me here. We've established that salt is good against ghosts previously. So
have we?
Yes, we have. It was first session you were not
episode?
here. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Because there are no spells to deal with ghosts, so there's only tools, right? So like cold iron and salt work against ghosts apparently.
Gotcha.
In this place that is so packed with salt, like how like I'm not really like, part of the reason why I didn't open my necromantic senses previously is because I didn't expect there to be any ghosts here.
Totally.
Right? Like this is a
I'm
burial
sorry,
ground.
I
It's
forgot
sacred
that
ground. It's got plenty of salt. I was very like not prepared for this. So like I think.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that totally makes sense.
the easiest way to say this is that Gurn clears his throat. But like, in terms of like senses, like I do not know. The last time we saw ghosts, they were possessing like snake skeletons, I think, and then we got attacked. So like,
Well, no, then there were those ghosts. Then there was that husband possessing his husband.
oh, that's true. That's true. Yes. So like, I mean, I guess, you know what? Like, maybe we can just. There's nothing in the book that says this, but I also feel like this is a very appropriate thing. I think that most necromancers have a charm or an amulet or something that they have on them that usually, like, reacts to the presence of, like, something necromantic, right? Like, it's not just the training, it's not just necessarily, like, the tickling in the back of your neck, or on the back of your. Yeah, it's neck, it's not throat. Haha. But, like, it could be an amulet I wear, or actually just because I think it's cool. I think that there is, as part of, like, becoming an apprentice, like, maybe I had to replace a bone in my hand with the bone of a dead person.
Oh, shit,
and I think that it thrums, right? Like, in the presence of ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, you feel that, and then you hear Gurn go, just in case you'd missed it.
So I think that's probably the moment where I shut my real eyes, and then when I open them, I open all of, like, the extra sets of necromantic eyes, which is my usual unveil your necromantic senses, which I have to roll for, so just give me a second. Perform an act of necromancy, which for me is a 4, so I need a 4 or less. So, uno
While you do
momento
that,
por
Strahd.
favor.
Judd, my distinguished colleague,
Yes, sir.
what do we think
Yes.
happens to a ghost when that ghost has no choice but to be exposed to salt on a long timeline?
Yeah.
Because it feels like sailors dead at sea is the first example my brain goes to, right?
Yeah.
Because it feels to me like the answer is you get a real fucking nasty ghost if it survives.
Right.
Like 99% of those ghosts, not a problem. The 1% that hang through it, though, oh boy.
No, you know what though? I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that they like build up immunity and then you get a really bad ghost. I think what happens is they get kind of torn apart, and then the reason why they're like undead sailors is because they very often die in groups, and so like they get torn apart by the salt, but then they become this kind of amalgam ghost.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't like that.
it's
Yeah.
not happy, and it is probably not like most ghosts are obsessed with a single sense of purpose, right? Like they
Right.
hang around because they want unfinished business, but so many purposes screaming together does not end up as anything coherent. Just very
Yeah,
dangerous,
their
probably.
quote-unquote purpose is like constant suffering, right? Like it's that they can't quieten the pain and like long enough to like let go.
Right.
Right.
Because I think also like they're too like not bewildered, like they're too just like overwhelmed by pain to like think clearly and be like, yes, let us head towards the shoreline and escape the sea. I just like I don't think they're cogent enough for that.
Yeah.
They just kind of like wander randomly in agony, being spooky.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
makes sense.
So I rolled, and I rolled poorly, but that doesn't actually stop anything. I still unveil my necromantic senses, and I work just fine. But after this particular thing is done, I am going to be tired and overwhelmed, and I should attempt to not exert myself again unless I'm in grave danger. So my first instinct will be to rest. So since I haven't heard any yells from above, I assume that's definitely going to be the plan. So I'm just gonna look around with my necromantic senses. So, dear volunteers, what do my necromantic senses reveal?
Well, there's a ghost. Definitely.
Great. Would you say that it is like sealing the entrance? Is it floating above the water? Is it stuck inside the water? Where is the ghost? Let's be clear about this.
Great question, Judd. What do you think?
Well, I mean, so is there a ghost, or another option I'm throwing out there, tell me what you think, Luke, is that there isn't a ghost yet, but like
There's one forming.
there's one coalescing, like a bunch of spirit, like the new ghostly spirit that is being torn apart by the salt is like magnetically calling all of the other bits to it, and so there's this kind of like whirlpool effect happening, this like spiritual whirlpool effect, where like a ghostly amalgamation entity is forming.
Oh god, this happens like every time they put in a new, like every time they fill a new, they put fresh bodies into into a hutch. And I think like one of the main things the priests do is deal with, right? Like that's probably what this priest is here to do, is to deal with that. But he's busy right now.
Right.
Yeah, and so I feel like I feel like because the sailor thing, I think is like a good example. I think they are just called like crews.
Like
a crew ghost.
A crew.
I'm writing that shit down.
Yeah, you should, because apparently we're gonna get an entire ghost etymology going on here. Awesome. So,
and I think how you sense that, Strash, is that you can feel as though you were underwater and a current were tugging at you. You can feel like the pull of it on your like ghost body. And I think also you can hear all around you, like the mouths of these like salt mummies are like, their jaws are like cracking as they're like forced open.
And like
and you can
pieces
hear, like,
are coming out.
You can hear like the ghost sound of them like sighing out their last breaths as they're like tugged into form this like
amazing
this crew.
These are very good necromantic adventures. Your descriptions are awesome, volunteers. Thank you so much. So
do you get some questions now?
No, I don't. Well, actually, sort of. When I unveil my necromantic senses, I can also I can automatically roll to either look empathetically or mentally. And the thing is that you've answered most of my questions here, right? Like, I don't really need to ask a question like, where can I look for something? I don't really need to ask a question of like, what does it want? I know it's dangerous. We've been clear about that. This is not a good thing.
You don't want to know what it hopes for?
Or fears, maybe. But I already have a pretty good guess on that too. I'm going to be grabbing some handfuls of pure salt, and I'm going to keep some cold iron handy. But I'm not planning to fight this thing. I think that I do not understand what's happening above. So what I'm doing is I'm coming out of the darkness, picking up my clothes without pulling them on, and yelling for me and the thief to GTFO. Because I don't know that there's a giant crab, or that there's any nonsense going on, or someone's going to deal with this. I'm just like, we gotta go now. So my plan is to go, like, booking up the staircase and just GTFO. Like, it's not a very complicated plan. It's just, this thing is still forming, and I do not want to be here when it is done forming, so we should go. I have what I've come for. My baggie is full. Go ahead, Lauren.
I'm already on it. I'm currently in progress away from the sinkhole.
Amazing.
As the crab drags me.
So yeah, that's my plan. That's the entirety of my plan. I'm running. There's no magic. There's no complicated solutions. It's very simple.
Judd, do you think that works?
That sounds pretty good to me. What do you think?
Yeah. I think we should ask the question, Strash. Like, I think because you are like passing through its currently quite dispersed like ghost body, like I think unless you like exert yourself subtly, it is absolutely going to feel you run through it.
Oh no, yeah.
And know which way you went.
I'm not even trying to hide, right? Like we know that.
Yeah, totally.
I've tested several bodies that have crumbled to pure salt, right? So I know that there are places where I can just reach out and like cast basically on the stairs pure salt so that I'm stepping on things that aren't going to like ectoplasm up and grab me, and I'm booking it. Now I'm expecting that there will be bodies and terrible things and whatnot. I'm just hoping to get out of here with the thief before anything truly terrible happens, because I'm tired. I don't want to fight this thing.
You're gonna make a mess and then skip town.
Yeah, that's always the plan. I mean, we are picaresque adventurers in a sword and sorcery setting. This is classic Fafford and Grey Mouser, who are not in Lankmar yet. We are absolutely stirring up poop and then getting the heck out. Although we may just move to a different town in the Swamp Flats, because I kind of like this setting. But yeah. is yeah. I don't hesitate. I just grab my stuff and go. So yeah, it's if you want to see what the situation is, I'm obviously going to try and catch up to the thief and figure out what's going on there. But yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm making no qualms about it. Not only is the ghost aware, but if anyone's above, they'll definitely hear me being like, it's probably time to go now. Like it's I'm not even being particularly subtle here.
Yeah. And so I think like you come up like out of the moonlight and are like sprinting to get back up to the top of the sinkhole. And I think you like turn and look behind you and you get your look at like emerging from like the darkness as though the shadow were like an ocean, like hands and like faces and like legs, just like all these ghostly limbs like clawing their way
Yeah.
kind of like after you.
There was a really cool question that somebody in chat had. Centraean said, are the ghosts drawn to new corpses because they want to use fresh spirits to patch where they've been decayed due to the salt?
That's poetic as hell.
Yeah.
That's real good.
I read that and I was just like, I felt I needed to read that.
And you have the freshest spirit of all.
Yeah,
Well
but mine's
done-
still
well
inside
done,
my belly.
Centraean.
They can't have it yet. So,
I think the
I don't
other
know
thing.
that they agree.
Oh, go on. Luke?
Oh, just like Strosh was like, they can't have it. Yeah, I don't know that they agree that they can't have your spirit while you're alive.
That's
I
true.
think they feel like that's perfectly reasonable.
I see where you're coming from. So yeah, that's
Meanwhile, in Crabtown, though,
yes.
Population V. So yeah, this crab has my foot, right? Like my ankle, and it's sort of dragging me
Yeah.
away into the ocean, right?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts like all heck.
real bad.
So I would like to use some acts of filching to get out of here. So I think I've been in a similar spot before because you don't learn how to get out of a like it's very sort of like street smarts, tough learning when you're like a scallywag, just trying to have fun when you're a kid, and you get into some really scary situations sometimes. So
Was this scary situation also with the crab?
maybe it was. We might learn that on a miss.
Is this a childhood trauma that you have?
We can ask what the difference is between crab claws and manacles. I mean, there are
Very
definitely
true.
situations where you can get pinched, even if it's not literally by a crustacean.
That is very true. Thank
Or
you.
even just a
Thank you,
hand around the
Melissa.
wrist, right?
So yeah, I think like so like having been in this situation before where I'm guessing this crab could beat me in a fight. But it for sure has like a really good grip on my leg. So I think what I want to do is not combat it violently, because that's going to be like a fight that I don't know I can win. So like the best thing to do in that situation is just to try and freak out your opponent and make them think that you're scarier than them. And so I have that stage prop in my hand. I want to like, if it's singing at me, sorry, I saw St. God had this idea and I thought it was like really cool. Also, I wish I had like tartar sauce and butter, but I don't. But I will keep that in mind for future crab-related adventures. So I think like I try and mimic like that warning sound, but like deeper and louder. And I take the stage knife with my free hand, and I think I want to try and like aim at a spot that's like not protected by its outer carapace, like a really like a weak, like his eyes or something.
Or the
just
joints.
Like, or the joints, yeah. It's not gonna hurt it. It's just I just want its attention to be like not on my foot, so like I have a chance to like slip out and get away. So I think I'm just gonna try and like fake it out with like this threat.
I also imagine that in our street performances, there have been plenty of times where you've had like some limbs tied up and part of your whole thing is just escaping.
Oh yeah, that's of course we've done this before.
I mean, yeah, that's why I was when I said manacles, I literally meant like
Manacles.
Houdini in a tub of water or whatever. Like you know the usual tricks.
Oh yeah, of course we did the Houdini trick where you're stuck in water and you're tied up and stuff and you gotta get out. Yeah, totally.
The amazing Morgan Houdini.
Yeah.
Be honest. The world
I
has ever
think-
seen.
It looks like I just have to tell my volunteers what impossible marvel I intend to accomplish, which is faking out this crab priest with my magic and intimidation tactics, and I roll my nimble plus
Yeah, so like it's
haste.
you make it seem that its claw has like passed through your leg,
Oh yeah,
but like aha, actually it didn't.
magic.
And the crab's like, whoa. Well, that's the goal. That's the goal anyway. Like,
Well, it depends on your roll, so.
we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I got one success. So sorry, I got really excited about that. on a hit, I tell the volunteers that I do in fact accomplish this, and I can ask them any remaining questions I have about my victim's reaction. Yeah, because how does this crab react when I try and form some street magic on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it thinks that it doesn't have you anymore, so it kind of like it's confused, and it lets go. But it's still like, involved in, dragging you around and drowning you. But I think it's just really confused because it could feel that it had your leg and it was about to bite down on bone, which is usually when people, freak out or start to bleed to death. And then, you did this weird magic trick, and it just like,
and all of a sudden its hand was like,
yeah.
I think its song takes on a slightly like uncertain edge, because I think like this crab is like sort of a wizard and sort of a plasmic entity, right? Like it's got some spoop about it, and like you have both done an impossible thing, but also it cannot sense any magic that was used to do the thing.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so I think it in its like little, centuries hazed like, funeral priest brain, it's like, what have I missed? What have I missed?
Right.
How that's not possible, but I didn't sense any magic. What have I missed?
I love the idea that street magic is the real magic going on here.
In the evil wizard business, we call this pulling a willow off good.
Yes, very good.
So I think I Scrabble. Hands on knees to an awkward run to a sprint back to the Necromancer, much to the tune of Indiana Jones. Like, why did it have to be crabs? And then I just need to find my Necromancer pal because this is freaky.
Amazing. So unless the volunteers disagree here, I feel like I'm going to be running up that spiral staircase, so I'm probably coming across it and yelling that we need to get out as you're running towards me, unless something else happens here.
We're both simultaneously going like, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we gotta get out. Yes, I know. That's what I've been saying.
The Necromancer gets a great look over the thief's shoulder at the priest crab scrabbling around on the floor, looking through the seaweed, trying to find where the thief has gone. Gets a really good look, like over the Necromancer's shoulder, down the tunnel, where I think, having come out of the darkness, I think what this ghost looks like, and I think it is like, I think the ghost is visible, right? Like it is possessing shape right now. I think it looks like the shape of an octopus, but made of human limbs and also like sea creatures.
And seaweed, maybe, to tie it all together.
Yeah,
give
exactly,
it some
right?
flexibility.
Seaweed and a bunch of like hands and a bunch of like legs and a bunch of faces and a bunch of like eels and like lobsters and like jellyfish. Real gross. Real gross.
How big is the crew? Would you say
How big is it?
very big?
I would say that the crew definitely takes up the entire, width of the, the pathway down into the darkness.
Okay.
And
So
probably like
not bigger than the crab.
Oh, and occupies like 4 or 5 steps worth of length.
But not bigger than the crab, though, right?
No, I don't think so.
All right, cool. In which
What
case,
do you reckon?
That sounds right.
I look behind the thief. The thief looks behind me, and I go, I think you win. And then I just go bolting whichever direction is not either of these directions.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think we maybe fade out on like the crew reaches the bit where the necromancer had started like throwing salt down behind them, and like as it starts to crawl up over the salt, like it just starts screaming, and the crab, like, you know, its eye stalks go like and it starts like scuttling over to the top of the you know, the stair to like confront the crew in epic battle. And meanwhile, you two are able to slip over the golden wall and get away.
Cool.
No
Are
big
we,
deal.
are we happy with that?
Oh, heck yeah.
I have necromancy ingredients. That's good. The only thing remaining that I need before I have to learn more stuff is I need to find blood somewhere. But that's for another adventure.
It sounds like another spawning circumstance.
Yes. Do you have an idea for a spawning circumstance, Dear Thief, or shall we take a break and find one?
I am good for a break if that suits everyone, and then I can take a gander at these spawning circumstances.
Yeah.
All right.
That
awesome.
sounds like a good rhythm. Yeah.
So let's take a quick break. Boop. Good. All right. And folks, thank you so much for hanging with us, chat. You've been actually super amazing. I appreciate all of you, even the lurkers, because I know not everyone's talking, but I've been not only cracking up at chat, some of your ideas have been absolute gold. So stick
I love
around. Oh, go ahead.
All right, I love it. Please keep all the ideas coming.
Stick around. We should be back in just a couple minutes. We're going to make a cup of tea and take a look at some spawning circumstances, and we're going to have another adventure after the break. So, see you all soon.